Listen closely, my friends. There will be a moment when someone says something designed to hurt you. Maybe they insult you. Maybe they disrespect you. Maybe someone you trusted suddenly turns cold. And for 1 second, you will feel the fire rise inside you. The urge to answer, defend yourself, prove them wrong, make them regret what they said. That 1 second is where your power is decided. Because the strongest person in the room is not always the loudest. Sometimes it is the person who feels the anger completely and still refuses to become a slave to it. Anyone can react. Anyone can shout. Anyone can send the message they will regret tomorrow. But mastery begins when you can feel the emotion without allowing the emotion to choose your next move. Think about how strange that is. Someone can say 5 words to you, and suddenly they control your heartbeat, your mood, your concentration, and the next 3 hours of your life. They walk away, but their words remain inside your head. They return to their life while you keep fighting an argument that is already over. If someone can disturb your peace simply by pressing the right emotional button, then they don't need to control your life. They only need to control your reaction. The Stoics saw this thousands of years ago. Epictetus understood that events themselves do not automatically determine our inner experience. Our judgments about those events matter. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by betrayal, war, political pressure, death, criticism, and people who wanted things from him. Yet his philosophy kept returning to one battlefield, the battlefield inside the mind. You may not control what enters your life, but you can train what happens next inside you. And this is where most people misunderstand emotional strength. They think mastering your reaction means becoming emotionless. It doesn't. A stone does not react because a stone cannot feel. You are not trying to become a stone. You are trying to become a person who can feel anger without becoming anger. Feel fear without becoming fear. Feel disappointment without allowing disappointment to decide his identity. Because there is a space between what happens and what you do about it. That space may be only a few seconds, but inside those seconds lives your freedom. The insult arrives. The emotion rises. Then comes the choice. Speak or pause. Attack or observe. Revenge or discipline. That tiny space is where a reactive person becomes a self-mastered person. And here's the part most people never realize. You don't lose control in the moment you explode. You lose control much earlier when you allow another person's behavior to decide what kind of person you will become. If someone is cruel and you become cruel, they have already changed you. If someone brings chaos and you carry it home, their chaos has entered your private world. The victory is not making them suffer. The victory is refusing to let their behavior rewrite your character. Imagine a Roman soldier standing before an enemy who is trying to provoke him into making a reckless move. The enemy doesn't necessarily need to defeat him physically. He only needs to make him abandon discipline. One impulsive step can expose the entire formation. One uncontrolled reaction can destroy years of training. Your life is not so different. Sometimes the person provoking you is not trying to win an argument. They are trying to make you abandon the person you said you wanted to become. So what happens when you stop reacting automatically? You become difficult to manipulate, difficult to provoke, difficult to emotionally blackmail. You begin seeing situations before entering them. You stop giving every stranger access to your nervous system. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided what they want to believe. And slowly, something changes. Your peace stops depending on how carefully everyone else behaves. In this video, we are going through 7 powerful lessons that will teach you how to master your reaction. When someone disrespects you, when life disappoints you, when people misunderstand you, when anger rises, and when everything inside you wants to react immediately. Because life will keep testing you, people will still disappoint you, someone will still misunderstand you, someone will still try to provoke you. Things will still happen that you never asked for. The goal is not to build a life where nothing disturbs you. The goal is to build a mind that knows what to do when something does. And by the end of this video, you may realize something uncomfortable. The real battle was never about controlling other people. It was about finally becoming the kind of person who does not need to. Lesson 1. Pause before you become what hurt you. The first reaction is usually the least intelligent one. Not because you are weak, but because emotion arrives faster than reason. Someone insults you, your body tightens, your heart accelerates, your mind instantly starts preparing a defense. In that moment, you don't really want justice. You want release. You want to throw the pain back at whoever gave it to you. And that is exactly why the first few seconds matter more than you think. Imagine a Roman commander standing on a battlefield while thousands of men are screaming around him. Smoke is covering the sky. Horses are moving through the dust. An enemy has just broken through part of the formation. Every instinct tells him to move immediately, but if he reacts blindly, he may send hundreds of soldiers into the wrong direction. The battlefield doesn't reward the fastest emotional reaction. It rewards the person who can remain clear, while everyone else becomes confused. Your life has smaller battlefields, but the principle is the same. A message you didn't expect, a disrespectful comment, a partner saying something that hits an old wound, a colleague taking credit for your work, a stranger insulting you. The situation happens in seconds, but your mind can continue fighting it for hours. You replay the sentence. You imagine the perfect response. You create conversations that never happened. The other person has already forgotten it, while you are still carrying the weapon they handed you. This is why the Stoic practice of pausing is much deeper than simply calm down. It is about creating distance between stimulus and judgment. Epictetus taught that our impressions arrive before our deliberate judgment. Something happens, the mind immediately produces an impression, and then we have the opportunity to examine it. That examination is where discipline begins. The first thought is not always your choice. The second thought can be. Think of a blacksmith holding a piece of burning metal. He doesn't strike it randomly because the metal is hot. He waits for the right moment, positions it carefully, and then strikes with purpose. Your emotion is similar. Anger contains energy. Fear contains information. Disappointment contains pain. But raw emotional energy without direction can damage the very thing you're trying to protect. You don't need to destroy your emotions. You need to learn how to hold them before you act. Modern psychology gives this principle another layer. When emotional arousal becomes intense, your ability to think calmly and evaluate consequences can become impaired. Your brain becomes more focused on immediate threat and immediate relief. That is why people send messages they later delete, say things they cannot take back, make decisions they regret, or walk away from relationships during moments that could have been handled differently. The emotion feels permanent because it is loud, but intensity is not the same thing as truth. So create a rule for yourself. Never make an important decision at the peak of an emotion. If you're furious, wait. If you're terrified, breathe. If you're deeply hurt, give yourself time before responding. You don't have to ignore the problem. You don't have to surrender your boundaries. You simply refuse to let a temporary emotional storm write a permanent sentence for your life. There is enormous strength in saying, "I'll respond later." Not because you are afraid to speak, but because you respect your future self enough to choose your words carefully. Anyone can react in the heat of the moment. It takes discipline to let the heat pass before deciding what deserves to be said. Marcus Aurelius understood that the mind could either be dragged around by impressions or trained to examine them. That is why Stoicism was never simply about looking calm. It was about building an inner structure strong enough to withstand pressure. A calm face means nothing if the mind behind it is still being controlled by every external event. Picture a deep ocean during a storm. The surface can be violent, waves rising, wind screaming, water crashing against everything around it. But far beneath the surface, the water can remain remarkably still. That is the kind of mind you are training. Life can become loud without forcing you to become loud. Someone can lose control without taking yours away. A situation can become chaotic without making chaos your identity. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the person who hurt you expects a reaction. They know exactly which sentence will make you angry. They know which subject will make you defensive. They know how to push the button. If you react exactly as they predicted, you have given them something more valuable than your attention. You have given them control. But when you pause, something changes. The script breaks. They expect anger, and they meet silence. They expect impulsiveness, and they meet composure. They expect you to defend your ego, and instead, you examine the situation. Now you are no longer simply reacting to what happened. You are deciding what happens next. So the next time you feel that instant surge inside you, don't rush toward it. Take one breath, then another. Ask yourself, what response would I respect tomorrow? Because the strongest version of you is not the one who never feels anger. It is the one who can feel the fire and still decide where the fire goes. Pause before you become what hurt you. Lesson 2. Do not let their chaos become yours. There is a dangerous kind of weakness that looks like strength. Someone raises their voice, so you raise yours higher. Someone becomes disrespectful, so you become crueler. Someone tries to humiliate you, so you spend the night imagining how to hurt them back. It feels powerful because anger gives you energy. But there is a hidden price. The moment you allow someone else's behavior to determine your behavior, they have already taken control of you. Imagine standing beside a fire. Someone throws a burning piece of wood toward you. You have two choices. You can pick it up and throw it back, allowing the fire to continue through you, or you can let it fall to the ground. Most people never realize that emotional provocation works the same way. An insult is thrown, anger rises, then the person carries that anger into their home, their work, their relationships, and eventually their sleep. The person who caused the disturbance may have moved on hours ago, but their fire is still burning inside. The Stoics understood this distinction with extraordinary clarity. Epictetus repeatedly brought attention back to what belongs to us and what does not. Another person's words belong to them. Their temper belongs to them. Their insecurity belongs to them. Their cruelty belongs to them. You cannot control what another person chooses to carry, but you can decide whether you will pick it up and carry it too. You are not responsible for every emotional storm that passes near you. Think about Marcus Aurelius ruling an empire filled with people who wanted something from him. Some wanted power. Some wanted recognition. Some wanted revenge. Some would flatter him to gain influence, while others would criticize him regardless of what he did. If he allowed every person's emotional state to dictate his own, he would have become a prisoner inside his own empire. His position demanded something far more difficult than authority over others, authority over himself. And that is where most people lose their freedom. They believe another person's anger requires an angry response. They believe disrespect requires immediate retaliation. They believe being misunderstood requires an explanation. They believe someone else's bad mood must somehow become their bad mood. But why? Why should another person's lack of self-control become evidence of your lack of self-control? Modern psychology gives us another reason this matters. Emotions are contagious. Human beings constantly read facial expressions, tone of voice, posture and behavior, often without consciously realizing it. When someone enters a room furious, you can feel the atmosphere change before they explain anything. But emotional contagion does not mean you have no choice. Awareness creates distance. You can recognize the emotion without automatically absorbing it. You can witness the storm without becoming the storm. This is especially important with people who know exactly how to provoke you. They have learned your triggers. They know which subject makes you defensive. They know which accusation makes you angry. They know which silence makes you anxious. And sometimes, consciously or unconsciously, they use those triggers because your reaction gives them a sense of power. If you respond exactly as expected, you reinforce the pattern. Your reaction becomes their remote control. But imagine what happens when the pattern suddenly breaks. They raise their voice, and you lower yours. They insult you, and you don't rush to prove yourself. They try to drag you into an argument, and you simply say, "I understand what you're saying," and refuse to participate in the chaos. This isn't weakness, it is psychological independence. You are telling the situation, "You can exist around me without determining who I become." There is a difference between calmness and passivity. Stoicism does not tell you to tolerate abuse, accept disrespect, or remain silent when a boundary must be enforced. Sometimes the strongest response is to leave. Sometimes it is to say no. Sometimes it is to confront the problem directly. Sometimes it is to end access to you. The Stoic question is not, "How can I avoid responding?" It is, "What response serves reason rather than impulse?" Picture a mountain during a storm. Lightning strikes around it. Rain beats against its surface. Winds scream across its peak. The mountain does not need to chase the storm away to remain a mountain. It does not argue with the wind. It does not become smaller because the sky becomes violent. It simply remains rooted. Your goal is not to become emotionally numb like stone. Your goal is to become rooted enough that another person's emotional weather cannot constantly rearrange your inner world. So the next time someone brings chaos toward you, notice the moment when your body wants to immediately answer. Notice the heat in your chest. Notice the urge to defend yourself. Then ask one question. Is this emotion mine, or did I just pick it up? That question can create the distance you need. Because not every battle deserves your blood. Not every insult deserves your voice. Not every person's chaos deserves a room inside your mind. Master your reaction, and you stop giving other people the power to decide who you become. Lesson 3. Separate what happened from what you assume. One of the most dangerous things about your mind is that it can turn a simple event into an entire story. Someone doesn't reply to your message, and suddenly you decide they don't respect you. Someone walks past you without saying hello, and your mind whispers that they dislike you. Someone gives you a short answer, and you spend the next hour wondering what you did wrong. The event lasted 5 seconds. Your interpretation can last 5 hours. This is where mastering your reaction becomes much deeper than simply staying calm. You have to learn the difference between what actually happened and what your mind added afterward. The Stoics understood that an impression is not automatically a fact. Something appears before your mind, but you still have the responsibility to examine it before giving it the power to control you. Imagine a messenger arriving at the gates of an ancient Roman city and saying, "The enemy is approaching." Panic spreads immediately. Soldiers reach for their weapons. People begin preparing for disaster. But a disciplined commander asks one question before moving the entire army. What exactly do we know? Maybe the enemy is approaching. Maybe a small group was mistaken for an army. Maybe the information is incomplete. A wise commander does not fight an assumption. He waits for reality. Your mind needs the same discipline. Someone says, "We need to talk," and your imagination immediately creates 10 possible disasters. Someone doesn't invite you somewhere, and you conclude that nobody values you. You see someone succeeding, and your mind creates the story that you are falling behind. You are no longer reacting to reality. You are reacting to a movie your mind created about reality. Modern psychology gives this pattern a name. Our minds constantly interpret incomplete information. We make assumptions about other people's intentions, predict outcomes, and search for explanations. Sometimes those interpretations are correct. Sometimes they are completely wrong. The danger begins when you treat an interpretation as if it were evidence. A thought can feel convincing without being true. Think about a shadow on a wall at night. From a distance, it can look like a person standing in the room. Your heart reacts before you investigate. Then you turn on the light and discover it was only a coat hanging from a chair. The fear was real, but the threat wasn't. Your emotional reaction doesn't prove that your interpretation was accurate. Emotion tells you what you feel, not necessarily what is true. This is why Epictetus placed so much importance on examining impressions. Before saying, "They disrespected me," ask, "What exactly did they do?" Before saying, "They hate me," ask, "What evidence do I actually have?" Before saying, "My life is falling apart," ask, "What specifically is happening right now?" These questions may sound simple, but they interrupt the automatic story and bring your mind back to reality. And sometimes the truth will be uncomfortable. Maybe someone really did disrespect you. Maybe someone really is treating you unfairly. But even then, separating the event from the story gives you power. You can respond to the actual behavior instead of reacting to everything your imagination has built around it. There is a huge difference between saying, "He didn't answer my message," and saying, "He ignored me because he doesn't care about me." The first is an observation. The second is a conclusion. One gives you information. The other can create anger, insecurity, resentment, and unnecessary pain. So when something triggers you, slow the process down. What happened? What am I assuming? What do I actually know? That small interrogation can save you from hundreds of emotional reactions, because sometimes the person you're angry with never intended to hurt you. Sometimes the rejection you feared never happened. Sometimes the disrespect was only a misunderstanding. And sometimes the enemy you have been fighting all day was not another person at all. It was the story your mind created when you didn't have all the facts. Master your reaction by mastering your interpretation. Do not let an assumption become an emotion, and do not let an emotion become a decision. Lesson 4. Respond with purpose, not impulse. A reaction asks one question: how do I feel right now? A response asks a far more powerful question: what should I do now? That difference may look small, but it separates people who are controlled by emotion from people who can command themselves under pressure. Your first impulse wants relief. Your disciplined mind wants the right outcome. And those two things are often not the same. Imagine a Roman commander receiving terrible news in the middle of a campaign. Supplies are running low. Soldiers are exhausted. The enemy is moving closer. Fear spreads through the camp, and everyone looks toward the commander for a reaction. He has every reason to panic, but panic cannot solve the problem. He studies the terrain, counts what remains, considers the enemy's position, and then gives an order. He doesn't deny the danger. He refuses to let fear make the decision. That is the difference you need in your own life. When someone insults you, your impulse says, destroy them. When someone rejects you, your impulse says, prove your worth. When someone disappoints you, your impulse says, make them feel what I felt. But ask yourself what happens after the impulse gets what it wants. You win the argument and lose your peace. You prove your point and damage the relationship. You send the message and spend the next morning wishing you could take it back. Immediate emotional relief can create long-term consequences. The Stoics understood that reason was not the enemy of emotion. Reason was the force that could give emotion direction. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to return to the task in front of him instead of being dragged around by impressions. He was not trying to eliminate every emotion. He was training himself not to become its servant. A disciplined mind does not ask emotion for permission to act. It listens, examines, and then decides. Modern psychology points toward the same principle through response inhibition and self-regulation. The brain can generate an automatic impulse before conscious reasoning has fully evaluated the situation. But an impulse is not an instruction. You can experience the urge to shout without shouting. You can feel the urge to check your phone without checking it. You can feel the urge to retaliate without retaliating. The feeling can arrive without receiving authority. Think of a skilled archer. When the wind changes, he doesn't throw the bow down in frustration. He doesn't shoot blindly because he is impatient. He adjusts his aim. He waits for the right moment. Then he releases. Your emotions are like the wind. You cannot always stop them from moving through you, but you can learn how to adjust your aim before you act. This becomes especially important when someone is deliberately trying to provoke you. Some people don't actually want a solution. They want a reaction. They want you angry because your anger makes you easier to predict. Once you become predictable, they know which button to press. But imagine pressing a button that no longer produces the expected result. That is where emotional independence begins. Someone raises their voice, and you lower yours. Someone insults you, and instead of defending your ego, you ask whether their words contain anything useful. Someone tries to drag you into an argument, and you calmly decide whether the conversation deserves your energy. You are not surrendering, you are choosing the battlefield. And sometimes the most powerful move is refusing to enter a battle that exists only because someone else wants you inside it. This does not mean becoming passive. A purposeful response can be extremely firm. You can say, "Do not speak to me that way." You can leave. You can create distance. You can end a relationship. You can report harmful behavior. You can protect yourself. The difference is that your action comes from judgment, not emotional explosion. Anger may tell you that a boundary has been crossed. Wisdom decides what the boundary should be. Think about a firefighter entering a burning building. He doesn't run in screaming at the flames. He doesn't fight the fire emotionally. He assesses the heat, finds the source, chooses the correct equipment, and acts. The danger is real, but panic would make the danger worse. Your difficult moments require the same mindset. Do not add your own chaos to the chaos already happening. So when emotion rises, create a simple mental sequence. Notice, pause, examine, choose. Notice what you're feeling without pretending it isn't there. Pause long enough to prevent the first impulse from becoming an action. Examine what actually happened and what outcome you want. Then choose the response that your future self will respect. Because every reaction is training. Every time you explode, you make exploding easier. Every time you pause, you make discipline easier. Every time you choose reason over impulse, you strengthen the identity of the person you are becoming. And one day, something that once controlled you will happen again. The insult will come, the pressure will rise, the old trigger will appear. But this time, something will be different. You will feel the reaction and still remain in command. That is not suppression, that is mastery. Lesson 5. Stop needing everyone to understand you. One of the most exhausting ways to live is constantly trying to correct the version of you that exists inside other people's minds. Someone misunderstands your intention, and you immediately feel the need to explain. Someone judges you unfairly, and you begin building your defense. Someone tells a story about you that isn't true, and suddenly your entire day becomes a courtroom where you are both the defendant and the lawyer. But there is a point where explaining yourself stops being communication and becomes emotional slavery. Imagine a philosopher standing in the middle of a crowded Roman marketplace. Hundreds of people are talking, arguing, buying, selling, judging one another. Now imagine one person pointing at him and saying something completely false. Does he stop his entire journey to convince that stranger? If he did, another person would speak tomorrow and another the day after. He would spend his life running behind opinions that constantly change. A person who needs everyone to understand him can never walk freely. Epictetus understood something painfully simple. You cannot control another person's judgment of you. You can control your intention, your conduct, and the principles by which you live. Someone may call you arrogant when you are simply quiet. Someone may call you weak because you refuse to argue. Someone may call you selfish because you finally established a boundary. Their interpretation is not automatically your identity. This does not mean you should ignore every criticism. That would be another form of weakness. The mature response is to examine criticism without becoming dependent on it. Ask, is there truth here? If there is, learn. If there isn't, release it. The important distinction is that you are using criticism as information rather than using it as a measurement of your worth. Think about a statue carved from stone. Someone looks at it and says it is beautiful. Another says it is ugly. Another says it should have been shaped differently. The stone does not change because every observer has a different opinion. Its form exists independently of their reactions. You need the same inner foundation. If every opinion can reshape your identity, then you never really built an identity of your own. Marcus Aurelius lived in a world where reputation mattered enormously. He was emperor. Every action could be interpreted, criticized, praised, or manipulated. Yet he repeatedly reminded himself to focus on what was actually his responsibility, his character, his actions, and the way he fulfilled his duties. He could not command every person's opinion. Even an emperor cannot rule another person's mind. Modern psychology gives this struggle another name: the need for social approval. Humans naturally care about belonging because social connection historically mattered for survival. But when the need for approval becomes excessive, your behavior can become organized around avoiding rejection rather than pursuing your values. You start asking, will they like this? Before asking, is this right for me? And slowly, you become a performer in your own life. You choose clothes for approval. You speak for approval. You hide opinions for approval. You tolerate disrespect for approval. You stay in places that drain you because leaving might disappoint someone. You post something and repeatedly check who reacted. You accomplish something and immediately look outward for validation. You are living, but part of your mind is constantly watching the audience. That is not freedom. Imagine a prisoner carrying a chain that has no lock. The chain is made from imagined opinions. What will they think? What if they judge me? What if they don't approve? What if they misunderstand? The prison exists because you keep treating their perception as a command. The Stoics would ask you to return to your own sphere of responsibility. You cannot control what someone thinks after you leave the room. You cannot control whether someone believes your explanation. You cannot force someone to see your heart correctly. What you can control is whether you acted honestly, whether you treated people fairly, whether you kept your principles, and whether you can look at yourself without shame. And sometimes, the hardest thing you will ever do is allow someone to misunderstand you, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand that peace is sometimes more valuable than being correctly perceived. There will be moments when you need to explain yourself. There will be relationships worth repairing and people worth communicating with. But learn the difference between clarifying yourself and begging to be understood. Clarify once, communicate honestly, then let people decide what they want to believe. Because if someone has already decided to misunderstand you, another 1,000 words will not give them a different heart. And this is where emotional mastery becomes visible. The old you would chase the accusation. The old you would write paragraphs. The old you would replay the conversation. The old you would lose sleep trying to prove your intentions. The stronger version of you asks one final question: did I act according to my principles? If the answer is yes, breathe, walk forward, let the noise remain behind you, because you do not need everyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself and have enough integrity to keep walking when they don't. Lesson 6. Master your reaction to disrespect. Disrespect is one of the fastest ways to reveal whether you truly control yourself. Someone speaks to you as if you are insignificant, questions your worth, humiliates you in front of others, or deliberately crosses a boundary, and something ancient inside you immediately says, "You cannot let this go unanswered." Your blood rises. Your ego demands repayment. Your mind starts constructing the perfect sentence that will hurt them more than they hurt you. But here is the question most people never ask. If someone can insult you and instantly turn you into a person you don't want to be, who actually won? Imagine a Roman soldier standing at the edge of a battlefield while an enemy walks toward him and begins shouting insults. The enemy knows he may not be able to defeat the soldier physically, so he attacks something easier to reach: the soldier's pride. He wants him angry. He wants him reckless. He wants him to leave his position and chase an emotional victory. A trained soldier understands the trap. The enemy is not trying to hurt his ears. He is trying to control his decisions. And the moment he abandons discipline to prove his strength, the enemy has already accomplished something. This is why Stoicism never taught that strength means allowing everyone to treat you however they want. That would be weakness disguised as peace. Strength means you can recognize disrespect without allowing your ego to become the commander of your response. If someone crosses a boundary, you can confront them. If someone repeatedly mistreats you, you can walk away. If someone becomes dangerous, you can protect yourself. But there is a difference between setting a boundary and seeking revenge. One protects your dignity. The other often chains your dignity to the person who offended you. Seneca wrote extensively about anger because he understood how seductive it could be. Anger can make you feel powerful precisely when you are losing control. It gives you a temporary sense of certainty. I am right, they are wrong, and they deserve what is coming. But certainty can become a prison. Once anger takes command, you stop asking what is wise and start asking what will hurt. You stop pursuing the right outcome and start pursuing emotional payment. Think about a person throwing a stone at a mountain. The stone hits the mountain and falls. The mountain doesn't chase it. It doesn't scream at the person. It doesn't move from its foundation to prove that it is stronger than the stone. The mountain remains where it stands. That is the kind of inner strength you need, not because you are incapable of responding, but because you are no longer desperate to prove that you can. And this matters because disrespect often attacks the ego more than it attacks reality. Someone says, "You're nothing," but their sentence does not magically change your character. Someone calls you weak. Their opinion does not remove your strength. Someone laughs at your ambition. Their laughter does not determine whether your goal is possible. The danger begins when you treat another person's judgment as if it were a verdict handed down by reality. An insult is information about what someone chose to say. It is not automatically information about who you are. Modern psychology also helps explain why public disrespect can feel so intense. Humans are deeply sensitive to social rejection and status threats. Being humiliated in front of others can activate powerful emotional and physiological responses because belonging and social standing have historically mattered for survival. That reaction is human. You don't need to feel ashamed of it. But feeling the reaction and obeying it are two different things. Your nervous system can sound the alarm without you handing it the keys to the house. Picture yourself standing in a room while someone tries to provoke you in front of everyone. They are waiting for your face to change. They are waiting for your voice to rise. They are waiting for you to prove that they found the button. But you breathe. You look at them. You answer only what deserves an answer. And if necessary, you leave. Suddenly, the entire dynamic changes. You didn't surrender. You refused to perform for their expectations. That is real composure. Because the most powerful response to disrespect is not always silence, and it is not always confrontation. Sometimes it is a calm sentence. "Don't speak to me that way." Sometimes it is distance. Sometimes it is ending access. Sometimes it is reporting behavior. Sometimes it is walking away without giving the person the emotional explosion they were trying to extract from you. The mature question is not, "How can I make them regret disrespecting me?" It is, "What response protects my dignity without sacrificing my character?" And remember this, revenge keeps the offender connected to you. If someone hurts you and you spend days imagining how to hurt them back, they are still living inside your attention. They may be gone, but they still occupy your mind. You tell yourself you are punishing them, but often you are punishing yourself by continuing to carry the encounter. So when disrespect comes, don't ask only, "What did they do to me?" Ask, "What are they trying to make me become?" Because perhaps the greatest victory is not defeating the person standing in front of you. Perhaps it is refusing to become cruel because someone else was cruel. Refusing to become reckless because someone else was reckless. Refusing to become bitter because someone else tried to make you bitter. Let your boundaries be strong. Let your standards be high. But never let another person's disrespect become the author of your character. That is how you master your reaction. Not by becoming impossible to hurt, by becoming impossible to control through your pain. Lesson 7. Control what you give your attention to. Your reaction begins long before you speak. It begins with what you allow to occupy your attention. A comment you keep rereading, a person you keep checking, an argument you keep replaying, a mistake you keep punishing yourself for. These things may no longer exist in the outside world, yet you continue giving them a place inside your mind. And whatever repeatedly receives your attention eventually receives a piece of your life. Imagine a Roman soldier standing guard at the gates of an ancient city. His job is not to chase every person walking past the walls. He does not leave his post because someone shouts from a distance. He does not open the gates because someone demands his attention. His responsibility is to decide what deserves entry and what does not. Your mind needs the same discipline. Your attention is a gate, and not everything knocking deserves to come inside. Marcus Aurelius understood the value of guarding the mind. He constantly reminded himself to return to the present task rather than allowing external noise to dominate his thoughts. Imagine being an emperor with thousands of voices competing for your attention: politicians, soldiers, enemies, citizens, family, rumors, demands. If he allowed every voice to occupy his mind equally, he would have had no mind left to govern himself, let alone an empire. The first kingdom you must learn to govern is the one behind your eyes. Modern neuroscience makes this even more important. Attention is not an unlimited resource. What you repeatedly focus on becomes easier for your brain to notice and return to. If you constantly search for criticism, you become better at finding criticism. If you repeatedly scan for rejection, neutral situations can begin to feel threatening. If you constantly consume outrage, comparison, and negativity, your mind becomes accustomed to looking for the next emotional disturbance. What you practice noticing, you become increasingly prepared to notice again. Think about a person who receives one negative comment beneath a video. There may be hundreds of people who enjoyed it, learned from it, or quietly appreciated it. But that one criticism stays in their head. They read it again. They imagine who wrote it. They construct a response. They check whether anyone agreed. Suddenly, one stranger has received more mental attention than hundreds of supportive people combined. The comment did not steal their peace. Their repeated attention gave it permission to stay. This happens everywhere. Someone posts a picture and receives one negative reaction. Someone performs well at work but becomes obsessed with one piece of criticism. Someone has a good day but spends the evening replaying one awkward conversation. Someone achieves something meaningful but immediately begins comparing themselves to somebody who has achieved more. The mind has a strange habit. It can overlook an ocean of good and stare endlessly at one drop of pain. The Stoic response is not to pretend negativity doesn't exist. It is to become selective. Ask yourself, is this useful? If the criticism contains truth, learn from it. If a problem requires action, act. If a relationship needs a conversation, have it. But if the thought is simply repeating itself without producing a useful action, you may not be thinking anymore. You may simply be rehearsing your suffering. There is a difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection asks, what can I learn from this? Rumination asks the same painful question repeatedly without moving toward an answer. Reflection produces wisdom. Rumination produces exhaustion. One turns pain into information. The other turns pain into a permanent residence. Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your hand. Holding it for a few seconds is easy. Holding it for an hour becomes painful. Holding it all day becomes unbearable. The stone hasn't become heavier. Your refusal to put it down has become the problem. Some thoughts work the same way. The event itself may be finished, but you keep carrying it because you believe thinking about it again will somehow change what happened. It won't. You cannot rewrite yesterday by replaying it harder. You cannot control tomorrow by worrying about it longer. And you cannot regain your peace by repeatedly staring at the thing that disturbed it. This is why mastering your reaction requires mastering your attention. When something triggers you, don't immediately feed it with more mental energy. Step back. Ask whether it deserves another minute of your life. If the answer is no, redirect yourself deliberately. Return to your work, go outside, train your body, read, create, pray or reflect. Speak to someone you trust. Do something that places your attention back into reality, because attention is not just focus. Attention is life in its most practical form. Whatever you repeatedly give it to becomes part of your experience of being alive. So stop handing your attention to people who only know how to disturb you. Stop donating hours to conversations that ended yesterday. Stop allowing strangers to occupy rooms in your mind that you don't even let people you love enter. And most importantly, stop confusing obsessing over something with controlling it. You don't regain control by staring at the problem forever. Sometimes you regain control by turning your eyes away. The world will always have noise. People will always have opinions. Problems will always knock. But you get to decide which doors open. Guard your attention, and you begin to guard your reactions. Guard your reactions, and you begin to reclaim your life. Mastering your reaction doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means becoming strong enough to feel anger without becoming anger, feel pain without becoming bitter, and face disrespect without surrendering your character. In these 7 lessons, we learn to pause before reacting, refuse to absorb other people's chaos, separate facts from assumptions, respond with purpose, stop needing everyone's approval, remain composed when disrespected, and protect the attention that shapes your mind. Life will keep testing you. People will still provoke you. Unexpected things will still happen. But you no longer have to give every event permission to control who you become. The next time your emotions rise, remember this. You don't control the first feeling, but you can control what you do with it. If this video gave you a new perspective, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to master their reactions. And in the comments, tell me, which of these 7 lessons do you need to work on the most? Because the ultimate form of strength is not controlling the world around you. It's remaining in control of yourself when the world tries to pull you apart.